Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second ever edition of Hammer Anytime, presented by Betfred Sportsbook. I am Ian MacMillan at Ian McBets, joined by Krabs Bets. We have some good news and some bad news. We're just kind of combining them in one, and that is that we had a terrible show last week. I guess that's the bad news. The good news is there's only one way to go, and that's up. A combined 2-10 last week. We hit one anytime touchdown scorer each. But that means we're just going to bounce back this week. Krabs, how you doing?
We're doing well. I wanted to set the bar low when we start. That way it's only up from there.
Yes.
Gotta keep those expectations nice and low. We build up from there. Okay, that's how you climb the mountain. So we're coming with winners today. We each had one last week. We're going to each have at least a couple this week. I'm stoked. I like my place.
Yeah, like I said, combined 2-10 last week. So let's go 3-9 at least. I think that's very doable this week.
Yep. I'm in.
So the way the show works, if you didn't tune in last week, we have 3 different tiers, and we've now named them. They're named after hammers because this is on the Hammer Betting Network. So the third tier, the mallet tier, we're going to have 3 picks for you. The middle tier, the sledgehammer tier, we're going to have 2. And then our top tier pick, Thor's Hammer, is going to be our best bet to score a touchdown this week. Just anytime touchdown scores. If these players find the end zone, the bet will cash. So pretty quick show. We'll try to get in and out of here within 20 minutes. So let's start off with the lowest tier, the mallet hammer tier. Krabs, why don't you start us off?
Sure. I've got Alexander Madison finding pay dirt at any time, plus 200 consensus. It's about that time of the year again when Dalvin Cook, either gets hurt or they start load managing. And to be honest with you, I think they could be up in this game potentially. Detroit also gives up, the second worst 5.4 yards per carry to running backs this season. So it's not like he's going up against a brutal rush defense here. And I really do think that either they'll get up early and often here in this game and, try to keep Dalvin Cook fresh because he's gotten hurt at the end of the season every single year up to this point. We already saw them use Madison more last week, and he found pay dirt. I think he finds pay dirt again this Sunday, and finds the end zone 2 weeks in a row. Madison, one of the best backups, one of the best, fantasy football backups you can have on your roster, because we know the injury's coming. Not wishing that on anybody, but I think they'll keep Dalvin Cook's rushes to a minimum on Sunday, and that'll help out our guy Madison at plus 200.
I like it. And I have 2 other touchdown scores in that game alone. I think we're going to see a lot of points between the Vikings and Lions. Some great spots for some touchdown scores. So I'll start with my first one. Last week, if you watched, you remember the narrative I tried to use was a couple of revenge game spots. And the only player that I hit was A.J. Brown, who had a revenge game against his former team. So let's just go with another revenge game pick. TJ Hawkinson, plus 190 against the Lions here. Has seen at least 6 targets in 5 straight games. The Lions are 30th in opponent yards per pass attempt, 24th in opponent passing touchdowns per game. So they should give up some yardage and maybe a couple scores through the air. And it's a revenge game spot. Like I said, is the only thing that worked for me last week was that narrative. I don't like revenge game narratives when betting on sides. But maybe it has something to do with it when it comes for anytime touchdown scores. So give me TJ Hawkinson against the former team.
I love it. Hey, we saw A.J. Brown, score last week against his old team, and it resulted in the Titans GM getting fired that next day. So maybe revenge narratives are pretty good for props.
Yeah, we'll see. What's your next mallet tier pick?
Yeah, this one's wild. This is a value play. Okay, this is why this is in the mallet group. All right, tier 3. I'm going with Tom Brady. Anytime touchdown score at plus 1,000. You can only find this, sparingly right now, but it'll be up on all the books. It'll be up on Betfred's, come Sunday. Here's the deal. Tom Brady is the QB sneak king, but he hasn't snuck one in this year yet. And he's going up against debatably the best defense in the NFL this week. I don't really think their running backs are going to have much success against that bad O-line. They really haven't of late. And I could see this like it was yesterday, Tom Brady getting an absolute blessing pass interference call in the end zone to keep this one close. We know that's what the NFL wants. And, put the ball in the 1, and we see the Tom Brady special. He sneaks this in for plus 1,000. So love the value here. He hasn't got a QB sneak in yet this season, and that's kind of been his shtick. That's been what he's been really good at in previous years. I think he gets it done this week against a really tough, rush defense against running backs here.
There you have it. 10-1 pick.
Yeah.
Starting off strong. Let me ask you this, Krabs. Fact or fiction, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers will be a dangerous team to play in the playoffs?
I'm going to go fact. Once
Ooh.
it comes playoff time, I want Tom Brady as my QB, and I want that defense. I'm going to go fact.
There is no man in the world that I hate more than Tom Brady. I'm sick of him. All right. My next mallet tier pick, I'm also going to go with a quarterback here. I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson plus 280. Already in his first start last week, he ran the ball 7 times. He did not look good with his arm. He had a bad throwing game, so maybe he's going to rely on his feet a little bit more this game. And don't forget, this is a guy who has had 17 rushing touchdowns in his career. So in case you forgot, since it's been so long since we've seen Deshaun Watson, he can run the football, especially down near the goal line. So at plus 280 in his second start, especially after he might not be as confident in his arm this week, I'll take Deshaun Watson to find the end zone against the Bengals.
I love that play. I absolutely love that play. That should be your Thor hammer, in my opinion. That's
yeah.
a smack.
Yeah, maybe it should be the plus 2. I'm trying to be a little bit more safer with my Thor hammer pick. Plus 280. I still think it's good, but I'm going with a little bit more.
I'm locking that in. That's sharp as hell.
Love it. All right, you got one more mallet play.
Yeah, this one's gross. Give me the Baltimore Ravens defense or special teams to score anytime this week, plus 750. Look, they're going up against Kenny Pickett. If the Ravens want to win this game, they're going to have to deal with that defense that looks much improved in the second half of the year. And I can see it like it was yesterday, this team getting, a crazy pick or a crazy sack on Kenny Pickett. He fumbles, and we get a scoop and score here, or a typical, Ravens defense pick 6. Hell, even a kick return. We know they've done that a time or two in years past. So it's been a while for the Ravens D. They're starting to lock in. They're playing better every week. I love this spot against a rookie quarterback. I trust Harbaugh and that defense to cause some havoc and maybe get in the end zone here at plus 750. Love the value.
Coming up with some bold picks this week. Tom Brady 10-1. Baltimore defense special team plus 750. I love it.
Value plays. Value.
I love it.
Find it.
All right, we've already given out for my last mallet play here. Oh, what's this, Ian? Did you ever think you'd lose? I had Raiders minus 5.5. I got it early in the week, so even when it was 16-10, I was like, I'm laughing. I got some nice CLV. Give me a CLV trophy here. And then 98 yards by Baker Mayfield. That's been the story of my
CLV is great and all until the bet doesn't hit.
Yes, correct. 98 yards by Baker Mayfield. What a world.
Is that the craziest thing to happen in the NFL this season so far? I think it is. The dude doesn't know any of the plays. He got signed a day ago.
Gotta be.
And he leads a 99-yard touchdown to win the game. Incredible.
Unbelievable. I was at the bar last night sitting next to my friend and coworker Reed Wallach, who's in a huge big money survivor pool, and the team he had, of course, is down to only a few people, and the team he had was the Raiders. So it was all-time heartbreak for him. I wanted to cry on his behalf last night. He was devastated.
Well, I'm sure you stayed at the bar a little extra, as you should. As you should.
All right, my final mallet play. We've already given out 2 touchdown scores in this game. I got a third here. DJ Chark plus 180 for the Lions against the Vikings here. Vikings last in the NFL in opponent yards per pass attempt, giving up 7.6 yards per throw. That is insane. Chark played 84% of offensive snaps last week. He had 5 catches for 98 yards on 6 targets. And the big reason why I like this bet here, the Lions have the best red zone offense in the NFL, so nothing's worse than having an anytime touchdown score. The team that they're on is down near the goal line, and then they have to settle for a field goal. So you have to worry about that less with the Lions than any other team with a red zone offense. So DJ Chark plus 180 against the Vikings.
All right. If we don't hit an anytime touchdown score in that game, we need to go back to the drawing board.
Yes.
Okay, we got 3 of them.
Correct. All right, we're moving on to the second tier, which is the sledgehammer picks. We got 2 each for this one. What's your first one?
Yeah, give me Zeke. Zeke eats at minus 135 here, consensus ATTS. Look, for some reason, this team continues to give the ball to Zeke instead of their better running back. I think it's Jerry Jones. He's got his hands all over this team. He's got his mitts all over it, and he's paying Zeke too much to not give him the rock. I genuinely think that might be it. The guy's had 7 touchdowns in his last 5 games. He's getting the touchdowns. And I know TP has gotten in the end zone a couple times, but, more often than not, if they're on the goal line, they're giving it to their bruiser in Zeke. They trust him more. So it's a positive game script. They should be up and winning this game, the majority of it, and running the ball a ton. Hence why Zeke is minus 135 ATTS. So Give me Zeke to find pay dirt. Zeke eats this weekend.
I like that. They should see a couple touchdowns for the Cowboys in that game. You would hope, with them being 17-point favorites.
You'd think
they're
so.
Going to score a couple times.
Yeah.
I'll just stick in the same game actually, but I'm going to go on the other team. This is my first sledgehammer pick. I'm going to go Damian Pierce plus 150.
Okay.
I think the Texans might put up a little bit more of a fight than a lot of people are expecting in this battle of Texas here this weekend. But I think if they're smart, they're going to run the ball against the Cowboys, because as good as the Cowboys defense is, their weakness is stopping the run. 23rd in opponent yards per carry, allowing 4.6 yards per rush. And Damian Pierce, after a couple of weeks where he didn't really do much, they didn't really give him the ball. He kind of bounced back last week with 18 carries against the Browns. So if he gets 18 carries against this Cowboys, not great run defense, I think that would be the smart thing for the Texans to do, and I think he can find the end zone. I don't really know if they're going to score any passing touchdowns. I think throwing the ball against the Cowboys might be a dangerous move. So I think they stick to the run game. Damian Pierce and find the end zone, plus 150. Couldn't
get it done for me last week. Let's hope he gets it done for you this week. He's due.
All right. Love it. We got another sledgehammer pick.
Let's go. Give me Jeff Wilson, anytime touchdown scorer. Look, the Dolphins didn't trade their 5th-round pick last month for nothing here. They're going to use this guy. They didn't use him for shit last week. I don't know if he was hurt. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what's going on in McDaniel's head, but they didn't trade a 5th-round pick, to keep this kid on the bench. They're going to use him. They need to get the run game going to be successful this week. They had a tough time at that last week. I think they try to establish the run this week. And good thing the Chargers have the worst rush defense in the NFL. Perfect timing. So I know you had the other guy. We'll get to that in a second here. One of us has to hit one here. I mean, come on.
Yes, exactly. I don't believe in the Chargers. I'll talk about the Chargers a little bit more here in a moment. But I got one more sledgehammer pick first, and that's Garrett Wilson. Plus 220 for the Jets to find the end zone. People need to start respecting the Jets, Jets. Beat the Bills a few weeks ago. Now they're like 10-point underdogs. Come on. Garrett Wilson has 23 combined targets in the last 2 games with Mike White starting. So he's going to at least get some looks. The Bills are allowing 1.3 passing touchdowns per game. And we know the Jets are, at least we assume the Jets are probably going to throw the ball a ton again this week. Mike White had, like 54 pass attempts last week?
Nuts. They're just letting him cook out there.
Yeah, so plus 220 for a guy who got 23 targets over his last 2 games. I think there's some value there. I mean, they've beat the Bills once. They can score a couple times at least. So I'll take plus 220 on Garrett Wilson for my final sledgehammer pick.
Love it. Bills defense a little vulnerable for the first time in a while. I like it.
All right, moving on to our last pick, Thor's Hammer, which I think Thor's Hammer is technically called Milner, I think is how you pronounce it. So this is our best anytime touchdown score for week 14. So start us off. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, give me Tyler Huntley. Anytime touchdown score, consensus plus 220. Look at that value there. He had a rushing touchdown last week when he went in. We know Lamar's not going to play this week. It's going to be the Tyler Huntley show, which I don't think is an issue. I think he's plug and play. I think he's the same type of player. And with Lamar's health of late, I think he might look a little bit better, a little bit quicker, a little bit sharper. To be honest with you, I'd give anything to have this kid be my quarterback. To be honest with you, I think Huntley sitting on the bench is criminal for the NFL. And I think he should sign to be a starter in the NFL somewhere else. There's a hot take for you. But here's the deal. Gus Edwards and Kenyon Drake, they looked brutal last week against a Denver defense that's good against the rush. And now they have to face another good defense against the rush here too. Huntley's going to have to make some magic happen with his legs for the Ravens to win this game. They're not going to be running the ball up the gut here on 3rd and goal with Gus Edwards, in my opinion. And there's 100 different ways that he can get this done. It could be a bootleg, could be a QB draw, read option, RPO, hell, maybe even a QB sneak. All I know is that their running backs look like shit, and they're going to let Huntley run around and scramble like a chicken with his head cut off, because that's what works in this offense. And I see him running in, a bunch of different ways. I think he gets in the end zone twice. I might sprinkle on 2-time ATTS. But him being a plus 220 here is ridiculous. If this was Lamar playing this game, his odds would be cut in half. And in my opinion, it's literally the same player right now with Lamar's health. So give me Tyler Huntley anytime touchdown score at plus 220.
Krabs bets the biggest Tyler Huntley stan on the internet.
Yeah.
Should be a starter in the NFL, he says.
I want him on the Commanders.
Wow.
Bring him over.
Hey, I love a hot take. I like it. I don't know if I agree with it, but I like it. I do.
You, dudes, he will be a starter in this league. I'm telling you. Just wait.
I do like the bet for him to find the end zone. But that's
Good.
3 quarterbacks that we're betting on to score a touchdown this week. So
something's got to hit. Something's got to give.
My Thor's Hammer pick, my best bet, we alluded to it a little bit earlier. Raheem Mostert plus 124 against the Chargers here. So we're both on the two different Dolphins running backs. So one of us has to cash at least. A lot of the same points you mentioned earlier, Krabs, with your Jeff Wilson bet. Chargers dead last in opponent yards per carry, allowing 5.4 yards per snap, 20th in opponent rushing touchdowns. I like Mostert a little bit better because he did see more snaps than Wilson last week, 61% of offensive snaps last week, so that made me lean Mostert a little bit more, but both these guys will get some carries, and they're going up against the worst rush defense in the NFL, so something's got to give here. I think the Dolphins, by the way, I think this game is a complete mismatch. I was shocked at the spread. I think the Chargers stink. I think the Dolphins run away with this game, and I think they do a lot of it on the ground.
Yeah, Vegas knows something we don't with this game, with that line. I'll tell you that much.
Vegas
Let's
knows.
Go.
Vegas
Let's
always
go,
knows.
Vegas does know. So
Vegas knew last night.
They knew last night. That game was scripted.
Yeah.
That game was scripted as heck. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
If you believe in the NFL being rigged, go ahead and watch that game last night. Watch those refs. They were working hard. Holy smokes. Yes. But yeah, let's hit some bets this weekend. It's only up after last Saturday or last Sunday. Okay. Only up from here.
If we can't beat our record from last week, we might just have to stop the show after 2 weeks. So we got to do better than 2.
I've got some confidence. We dug in. We hit the lab for these. I've been up since 3 looking at ATTSs. Not actually, but
in the lab. You've been in the lab.
We've been in the lab. Okay. And we're hitting these bets.
I love it. I saw someone in the chat there. Just bring it up if we can there one more time. Someone said, parlay everyone on the Dolphins starting offense to score at least 1 touchdown. I love it.
Sure.
That'd be a nice little parlay for you.
Yeah, they're going to score points. I think he's the most underrated coach in the league, McDaniel. I think he's a genius.
Okay.
Absolute genius. Potentially.
Wow.
Potentially.
Interesting.
I think so.
So there you go. There's our show. The second ever edition of Hammer Anytime on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by Betfred Sportsbook. Check them out. It is myself. It is Ian MacMillan at Ian MacBets. It is Krabs Bets at Krabs_Bets. Any closing thoughts, Krabs, before we wrap this up? Because we did get it in under 20 minutes.
We did. Very impressive. Very impressive, Ian. I appreciate it. Happy the commies aren't playing this week. So for my mental, that's good. A little bit of a reset, deep breaths. Are you excited to see Desmond Ridder back for the Falcons?
Yes.
Okay.
We may as well. Our season's done. We had to win last week. We did not. So we may as well see what the young guy has. See if he's going to be our quarterback of the future, or see if we got to draft someone this upcoming season. So I'm excited.
One of my favorites.
He looked good in the preseason.
Yeah, one of my favorite quarterbacks coming out of that class. I think a little underrated. So I like him. I wish he was on my squad. And I think, season's over. Might as well see what you got, right?
Might as well. Unfortunately, the season is over. All right, that is our show. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to the Hammer Network on YouTube. That'd be nice of you. Give this video a like. Responsibly. Yes. What did you say? Hammer responsibly?
Hammer responsibly.
I like that.
As always.
Hammer responsibly, everyone. We'll talk to you next week. Good luck this weekend.